The trusty goblin waved the Hanukkah over a plate of pancakes, which vanished. "We have to get them away from the food before they take every scrap," said Hannah. "I have an idea," said Rachel. "Maybe we can make them think that there are more decorations outside. If we can keep them there, we will not be able to bother Abigail and her family." Hannah flicked her wand. A burst of fairy dust bounced the back door open. "Do not let them see what we have got outside," Rachel called out. The goblins exchanged an excited look and raced out into the snowy back garden. The trusty goblin still clutching the Hanukkah. Hannah clapped her hands, her eyes sparkling. "It worked," she said in delight. "Now let us keep them there." Outside, the moon had vanished behind a cloud. The fairies fluttered away from the house and perched on top of a stone bird bath. The goblins were nowhere to be seen. "It is too dark to see their footprints," said Trusty. "How are we going to find them?" "Let us listen," said Hannah in a soft voice. "Goblins find it very hard to whisper. Perhaps we can be as quiet as mice. We might hear them." Hovering in the frosty air, the fairies stayed as silent as they could. Rachel held her breath. Trusty felt as if her heart was beating loudly enough for everyone to hear. They heard the screech of a nearby owl. They heard the crunch and snuffle of a hedgehog in the snow, and then, "Stop shoving me," squawked a grumpy voice. "I have dropped my wig," hissed another. "Ooh, my head is chilly." "Have you found anything that Jack Frost would want for Frosty?" said the first goblin. "I put my foot in a lovely pile of soggy leaves just now," said the other. "Send them," said the first goblin. "They might be part of the Hanukkah festival." "That gives me an idea," said Trusty. "Hannah, could you light up the garden? The goblins enjoy things that are cold and wet and uncomfortable. If they can see, they might spot lots of things they like. Then, while they are distracted, we could fly up behind them and try to get the Hanukkah back." Hannah's shoulder dropped. "I wish I could help," she said in a small voice. "But Hanukkah is a festival of lights. Without my Hanukkah, my magic is not strong enough to light up a big space like this garden." Tears glimmered in her eyes, and Rachel and Trusty rushed to give her a hug. "It is okay," said Trusty. "A tiny light could be even better." "Yes," Rachel agreed. "The people in the house might notice a big light, but they would not see something fairy-sized." Hannah smiled and hugged them back. Then she lifted her wand and spoke the words of a spell. "Glow and gleam, friendly beam, help us find the goblin team. Lights, light, shiny bright, it is time for us to put things right." The tip of her wand puffed up like a tiny balloon, glowing silvering white. It was bright enough to shine a pool of light a little way ahead of them. Hannah fluttered towards the goblin voices with Rachel and Trusty behind her. They drew closer to the goblin. "What is that?" one goblin hissed. "Stop grabbing my arm," grumbled the second. "It is just a silly insect buzzing around." "No, it is following us," said the first. The goblins were standing beside the garden shed, and one of them had the Hanukkah in his hand. They were peering through the darkness towards Hannah. "They can see the light, but they cannot see Hannah carrying it," said Rachel in Trusty's ears. "Maybe it is something to do with the festival," said the other goblin. "Let us catch it and send it to Jack Frost." Hannah looked at Rachel and Trusty, and her cheeks dimpled as she smiled. "I have got an idea," she whispered. "I am going to distract the goblins. Try to get the Hanukkah." Holding her wand out in front of her, Hana started to dance. She twisted and tumbled through the air, up and down, left and right, and the goblins stared with open mouth. To them it looked as if a tiny firefly was putting on an amazing show. Rachel and Kirsty fluttered around behind the goblin. The trusty goblin was still holding the golden Hanukkah, but it was dangling loosely in his hand. The yellow rucksack was on the ground, and Rachel peeped inside. The Hanukkah candles are in there, she said, but we can't lift them while we are fairies. They are bigger and heavier than us. So is the Hanukkah, and it is human size, said Kirsty. Even if we get the goblin to let go of it, how can we lift it up? Suddenly an idea popped into Rachel's head. We cannot lift it, but perhaps we can make it heavier, she said. Let us try to make him drop it. The goblins were still watching Hana dancing with the light, making loops and zigzags in the air. Rachel and Kirsty swooped low and hovered on either side of the Hanukkah. Each of them wrapped her arms around one of the golden stems. Then they both folded their wings and clung on tight. Oof, this stupid thing is getting too heavy, struck the trusty goblin. Shut up, said Rachel Goblin. You wanted to carry it. My arms are getting tired, the trusty goblin wailed. You take it. No way, said the Rachel Goblin, giving him a shove. The trusty goblin stumbled back and bumped into the shed. Whomp! The other snow slid off the shed roof and landed right on top of the goblins. The Hanukkah was knocked out of the goblin's hand and buried under the cold white snow, with Rachel and Kirsty still holding on tight. Rachel, are you okay? Kirsty spluttered. Rachel blinked, but all she could see was the snow. The goblins were squawking and flailing about nearby. I am all right, she said, her voice muffled. Kirsty tried to reach a spare hand. Up. We have to show Hana where we are.